What is going on, guys? We're jumping back into the Amazing Spider-Man all new, all different Marvel series with issue 3. The previous issue left off with Rhino possibly returning to the series, so that's going to be awesome to see if that actually does happen. Dr. Octopus is also returning, and I want to know if you guys spot a little bit of a pattern here, because another character also returns in this issue as well. But I'll talk about that at the end of the issue. Now guys, it is time to get into this comic and review it, but before we do that, I do have to announce the winner of the digital comic giveaway for the Amazing Spider-Man issue 2, and the winner is Mitchell Spicer. You are the winner of the digital comic giveaway for the Amazing Spider-Man issue 2, so I will get your code to you within 24 hours, I'll tell you how to redeem it and everything, and if I don't get it to you within 24 hours, then I have either died or I have lost all access to the internet, or some crazy thing like that. Now, I actually really liked your comment because you said evolutionary, and that's actually pretty interesting because we've seen Spider-Man evolve over time. Like, remember ages ago he was working for the Daily Bugle, he was a nobody, and then we saw Doc Ock take over his body and become Superior Spider-Man, then we saw him go through the Spider-Verse, and now he's come back from the Spider-Verse, gone into Secret Wars, he's got his own company, all this crazy stuff, and now he's come back from Secret Wars as one of the most important people in the world right now. So yeah, it's getting a little bit crazy, but yeah, so congratulations, I hope you enjoy your digital comic, and yeah, so for you guys that didn't win, don't worry, this was just a random selection, and plenty of you guys could have won this, it was just all randomly selected. Now, without further ado guys, it's time to get into this comic and review it, so let's jump into it. So right now in the Amazing Spider-Man series, it really seems like Dan Slott is focusing on the theme of being part of the zodiac signs. Now, in case you guys don't know what that is, it's pretty much, depending on which month you were born in, determines which zodiac sign you are. So for example, I was born on April 22nd, so my zodiac sign is a Taurus. Now, you've probably heard of them, there's Pisces, there's Gemini, there's Cancer, there's Taurus, there's Aries, and so on. And it really seems like the comic is focusing on that kind of theme. And what's actually happening on screen is that these zodiac masters, or whatever they are actually predicting the future. Now, what I absolutely love about this is that Dan Slott has given the zodiac signs a physical purpose, like they are actual people in the comic. And I think that's pretty awesome. Now, as we move on throughout the comic, we go back on over to the main guy, who is Peter Parker, the head of Parker Industries, and also our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And it turns out that he's making a new announcement for his company, and that is that he's actually bought the Baxter Building, the home of the Fantastic Four, or the Future Foundation, depending on what you want to call it. And one of the many things that I didn't expect from this was for Johnny Storm to lose his cool about this. You like what I did there? Lose his cool? No, oh, okay. Well, anyway, as you can see, Johnny Storm is not liking this idea of Peter Parker having bought the Baxter Building, which was pretty much Johnny Storm's home for his entire life. Now, obviously, you're probably wondering, why is Johnny Storm, like, in a bar drinking away? Why is he so mad? And all of this crazy stuff. Well, we don't actually know what's happened to the Fantastic Four because obviously the final issue of Secret Wars hasn't released yet, but I really feel like it was out of character for Johnny Storm to just go straight in there fighting Spider-Man, because these two guys are supposed to be not best friends, but they're supposed to be really good friends, but maybe that's because something happened in Secret Wars that we haven't seen yet, and that's caused a conflict between the two characters. Because I don't know about you guys, but where is the rest of the Fantastic Four? Where is Sue Storm? Where is Reed Richards? Did they even make it out of Secret Wars alive? Who knows? We'll probably find that out when the final issues of Secret Wars release in the next coming weeks. But until then, it's all a mystery. We also saw back there that Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. were trying to contact Spider-Man to help them out against the Zodiac. And for you guys that didn't know, this Nick Fury is not our Nick Fury. This Nick Fury on screen is actually the son of Nick Fury, who is called Nick Fury Jr. Yeah, it's a little confusing, considering that he looks identical to the original Nick Fury. So flipping over the page and going back to Spider-Man and Johnny Storm fighting each other, it turns out that they've actually called a truce to stop fighting and actually sit down and talk, or at least walk and talk anyway. And Spider-Man is giving Johnny Storm a personal tour of the new Parker Industries building, and that is when we meet Harry Osborn, who works for Parker Industries, which is crazy. And what I think is brilliant about this is that Johnny Storm has the exact same reaction as we do, and it's kind of like our reaction is depicted through Johnny Storm's, and that's just amazing. Kind of like Dan Slott knew we would react that way. Something else we also discovered from this comic is that Spider-Man has a hell of a lot more than just a Spider-Mobile. He also has a Spider helicopter, a Spider motorbike, and a hell of a lot more. Now, I'm not too sure whether we will see obviously every single vehicle being used in this series, but as we now know, he has quite a lot. Now once again, Johnny Storm kicks off because he created some new vehicles without him, and this comic really feels personal to Johnny Storm. It's all based around him, and the main villain, the Zodiac, are kind of like a side story that is just in the background, and this comic is focusing on more of the Peter Parker and Johnny Storm relationship. Speaking of the Zodiac, we actually flip the page over to go back over to S.H.I.E.L.D., who are being invaded by the Zodiac, and we discover that their main objective for today was to kill one of their own, to make a sacrifice of one of their own, because all he did was fail his mission. And apparently that means death, so yeah, it's almost like these Zodiac guys are an organization hell-bent on destroying the Earth or something along those lines, so that seems like something Spider-Man and the rest of S.H.I.E.L.D. and maybe some other heroes will have to deal with later. Maybe even the Web Warriors with Spider-Gwen and Spider-Man Noir and all that. But now as we move over to the final few pages of the comic, we can obviously see that Clash jumped in there to break these two guys up, and actually to try and help with that, causing Spider-Man to change his clothes back into his Peter Parker attire, and that is kind of when it's like he's waving the white flag to say, man, I'm out of my battle gear, I'm not in my Spider-Man costume, I just want to talk to you. And that's actually what happens, and that is when Peter shows Johnny Storm that Peter has a memorial, like a massive statue of the Fantastic Four family when you walk straight through the front door of Parker Industries. And the only reason Johnny Storm didn't see this was because he flew through the side of the building. So everything could have been prevented, all of that fighting didn't even need to happen if he walked through the main door like a normal person. It also turns out that Roxxon, Alchemax and some other companies were also trying to buy the Baxter building, and the only reason Parker Industries outbid them was because Peter wanted to keep it in the family for when the Fantastic Four return. And I kind of feel like that's a little hint that the Fantastic Four will return in the future, because why would Peter mention that? Now obviously Johnny Storm and Peter Parker are friends again, they're sat down talking about everything, they're having drinks, and that is when Harry Osborn is there. And I don't know why, but I really feel like Harry Osborn is a little bit twisted, he just doesn't seem right, something seems a little bit off about him. Even when he said that their drinks were non-alcoholic, I almost thought that maybe Harry Osborn put something in Peter's drink, just because I still don't trust him. Now as a final conclusion to the comic, we flip on over to the last page and we discover that Norman Osborn is still alive. He is still here in the Marvel Universe. And what I absolutely love is that the clothes he's wearing actually resemble the Green Goblin colours. He's got the purple vest on with the green jacket and he looks as evil as ever. And now I want to talk about that thing that I said at the beginning about characters returning. We've got Dr. Octopus, we've got Rhino, we've got Harry Osborn, we've got Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, so it really feels like the Sinister Six might be coming back. Obviously not in their usual form, but it's going to be interesting to see what Dr. Octopus is coming back as, and especially what Norman Osborn's face looks like, because the last time we saw Norman Osborn was actually in Superior Spider-Man issue 31 or issue 30, and he actually mentioned that he's had his face reconstructed many times to change his identity, so it looks like that he's done that again. So who could it be this time? It would actually be pretty funny if he had his face reconstructed to look like Peter Parker's. That would be a pretty sinister plan, almost like Hush out of Batman Arkham Knight. But yeah, that's just my views on that comic, that's just my views on what might happen in the future. But what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10. It was awesome, the art style is as awesome as ever. Still, I really felt like this comic was personal to Johnny Storm, and it was just kind of like, why is he being an idiot? Like, why didn't he just be a normal person instead of getting all heated up? I'm sure Johnny Storm is smarter than that. But obviously everything else and that ending with Norman Osborn was brilliant, so that is why I'm giving this issue an 8 out of 10. And now that is it for this video, guys, so go to the links in the description to follow me on Twitter and Facebook for all the latest in comic book news and updates. Don't forget to go to my Instagram to see what I'm doing in my free time when I'm not editing these videos. And last but not least, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I will see you all later.